What is up, ladies and gentlemen? My name is DJ Boozadelic, and I am here with episode 3 of the second season of the Boozadelic Chronicles. And I am very privileged to have with me, joining me virtually from the 702, the smoothest saxophone player that I know, my brother from another, Mr. Joe Johnson. What's up, JamminJoe?
Hey, I'm waiting to start jamming.
You're waiting
with
to
this
start
conversation.
All right. So I've known Joe now for getting close to like 40 years. It got to be like about year 38 or something by now. And we went to school together down at Oregon State. And I was on a radio station. He was in a band back then. Was that the Crazy Eights?
The Crazy Eights. But I wasn't crazy. I always made that point. They was crazy. I wasn't.
And so it was funny because, I mean, if I remember, I worked with a couple of those cats at the radio station, like Todd Duncan, and what was that other guy's name? Mark. And I just, they were playing, they had this like
Mark Stanker. I mean Baker.
Mark Baker, yeah, that's his name.
Mark Baker.
Yeah, and so I remember they had like this. You guys were basically playing a lot of ska type sound, if my memory serves me correctly, right?
It was like doing an exercise for the whole night. All we were doing was jumping up and down.
Yeah. And so
my ass was in shape.
So last night I was talking to his brother on the phone, and I was telling him last time I remember seeing him perform was at a show in the it was back then, it was called the Starry Nightclub in downtown Portland. And he said, "Is that the one where they started throwing stuff at us?" So man, talk about that for a moment. That's funny. You got to share that one, man.
Well, I was affiliated with my partner Beam for a long time.
My cousin.
And, yeah. So we was in a band together. We had a band, full band with vocals and everything. We was part of this kind of like Apollo night show. And so our style of music was not meant for that place. So as soon as we started playing, we started hearing booze, and then people started throwing stuff. And I swear they started bum rushing the stage. And I was on by the exit door. So I just put my horn, I packed it away. I was gone, but that really did happen.
Wow.
I don't know what started it, but I didn't think we were sounding bad, but it was a Apollo type of event. You know how Apollo people go. They don't like you. It's like, it's over. It's a wrap. Get these bums out of here. And I started out playing the trumpet. I went to the trombone, and then I went to the saxophone. The trumpet, I didn't like playing with just 3 fingers. It was boring. And my lip was always swole. And then the trombone, the same thing. My lip was always swole. And I didn't like just to be sliding on the trombone. If I couldn't play like Fred Wesley or J.J. Johnson, I was like, I can't do nothing. So I gave that up. I went to the saxophone because I can use all my fingers. So then my dad taught me how to improvise. He taught me how to understand harmony and chords. And so I do have a very strong background in music, but I don't happen to have that education, that that understanding. So having said that, my dad told me one thing. He said, don't forget, all you are doing is playing sound. And so if you know how to manipulate sound, then you really don't need to know all them theoretical things, because those are so it's too clinical, to be able to use theories to get the ideas out. Because now, because everything got shut down, I think it's wide open now for people who are creative, people who have been staying with their craft, and they've been putting in the work, and they haven't been how can I say it? They haven't been playing themselves. Acting like he was really putting in the work, and you really weren't, because once you get in front of that audience, that's going to be, that's a litmus test, and so at this point, I want the crowd to rock as soon as I hit that first note and stuff like that. But I'm not out there. I'm not an entertainer. I'm an artist. So so out here in Vegas, I get hired for the way that I play, not my playlist. But in order for me to get my imagination to produce what I'm hearing and thinking, I had to learn how to play a certain way. And so I decided I wanted to play the Charlie Parker style. That didn't mean I was going to learn songs, but I just wanted to play clean and beautiful like he played. And so that's how that was my foundation. That's how I was always focused on, even when I didn't even know how to play. Other artists around Charlie Parker's era, but I had never heard of Charlie Parker. But when I did hear of him, I remember all the other artists that I had heard records of, like Count Basie and Ellington, Art Tatum, Oscar Peterson and stuff like that, So all those artists, they're very high caliber musicians. So I use them as an example as I was teaching myself. So even though my progress was slow at first, I knew eventually I was going to get to the point where I was going to start, becoming more fluid and natural and instinctive with it. So that's what I did to teach myself. So when I was with the Crazy Eights, I didn't know how to play. I was faking the funk for real, big leap in my progression musically because I was able to fool them at first. I was able to play, just like a homeboy and was that Nick Cannon in that movie? He was a drummer.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he could do all those great beats and everything.
Drum line.
Drum line. But then he couldn't take the test. Because then he had to show his rudiments, his fundamentals. So that's how I was. I didn't have no fundamentals.
Okay, so now that obviously you done picked up those fundamentals over the years, and I just gotta say, the music that I've heard and the videos that I've seen of you, man, you sound phenomenal. And I even one time I even was playing one of your videos, and my wife was like, "What station are you listening to?" That's one of my boys, JamminJoe, playing some music. And so, but one of the things that I wanted to really talk about is the G-Funk. Now, the G-Funk, for a lot of you that don't know what it is, my brother's going to fill you in, but I noticed that, I've known that he's from the Southern California area where that's where he spent most of your life prior to coming to Corvallis. You were actually born in Akron, Ohio, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I grew up in California.
Okay. And so let's talk about how you just got into the G-Funk. What inspired that?
Okay, well, I had been street performing, and I had a spot where I was playing next to a beauty supply store, and so that allowed me to play to instrumental tracks. And so the first tracks that I had access to were hip hop tracks.
Okay.
But the thing about it was the hip hop tracks were usually in one key, like those classical records. They were, so I had to learn how to play creatively, even though there was never going to be a chord change. So you just, just like you just play the modes. You can start on a different note in that scale, and you get a different sound. And then you can also. So anyway, making a long story short, I took the opportunity to street perform, and I chose hip hop music because those were the easiest tracks to get access to. So I was doing West Coast, East Coast tracks. Midwest tracks, Southern tracks, and I finally got tired of experimenting. All I was doing was experimenting, and so I ran across some G-Funk tracks, and the reason why I liked them because they had chord changes, and it was funky. You know what I'm saying? And it allowed you to apply a melody to it, because I'm a melody player. I'm not going to be. I can go abstract. Don't get me wrong. I can go Kenny Garrett on you too, stuff like that. But I like to play beautifully and skillfully. That's my main focus. And even though I say beautifully, it can still be, G-Funk could be played beautifully. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's all relative. It's just not just a static, word that means one thing. So I chose G-Funk because it was funky, had a nice groove to it, it had chord changes, and I can apply a melody to it. And I was only going to use jazz techniques only. I'm not going to try to use pop techniques or, what I'm saying? It's going to, then also, I had gotten to the point where my repertoire, I had like 800 songs I could play, or I had played over. I used to sometimes rehearse 4 hours a day, 8 hours a day sometime, week after week, out there on the Fremont. And so having done that, it allowed me, when I got hold of G-Funk, it was like a hot knife through butter, you know, because the music is playing, the G-Funk music is by itself. I'm playing on top of it. So it's like two different songs playing together at the same time. It's like I'm having a conversation. I can play to the beat. I can play to the bass line. I can play to the keyboard chords. I can mix all that up, you know. So that's where all of the self-taught stuff comes in. So now I can be spontaneous. I can be on the moment's notice. I can find that feeling for that flavor. That's a Portland term. I've been using that a lot, you know, the feeling for the flavor. I learned that when I was in Portland. And everybody gets it when I say that, you know. I'm getting ready to try to find the feeling for the flavor of this song, you know. So G-Funk allowed me to be very creative. It allowed me to play beautifully and skillfully. And everybody likes G-Funk anyway. And another thing is the Raiders are up in here in Las Vegas. And so if this pandemic had not hit, everything was focused around capturing those Raider fans because they like G-Funk.
Right.
Nobody else was doing G-Funk in Vegas. So that's another reason why I chose it, you know, but that was secondary because after I decided I liked it, everything else is marketing and promotion.
Yeah, you were so right about the Raider fans and their love for the G-Funk, because I know when I would go to them games in Oakland, you know, you go by the different tailgates and stuff, that's what you be hearing.
Right.
And,
yeah. Or the Golden Oldies, that they love the Golden Oldies.
Yeah.
But G-Funk is automatic. You know, as a matter of fact, I just played a Raiders party like 2 weeks ago. Of course, the Raiders lost and the fight broke out.
Always a fight, man. Always a fight.
I got part of it on video, just a little part.
Win or lose, there's a fight after a Raider game, man.
But this was inside of a restaurant on the Strip. You know, it wasn't like, you know, no bar, no dive, like that. You know, and this was a Raider. It was an official Raider event. You know, it wasn't just somebody having a Raider party. This was an official Raider event. You know?
Wow.
But anyway, that's why I like G-Funk, because G-Funk allows me to use all of my skills, and improvisation is what I do, and that style of music, because it has so much richness to it. You know, the beat, the chords. Because remember now, the formula is the bass is the treble and the treble is the bass. No, something like that. It's
bass is the rhythm and the rhythm is the treble.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So everything kind of switches up. So people have to really listen real hard, not real hard, but because you can dance to it, people are automatically listening to the melody because you know it's easy to dance to.
Right.
You don't have to really know too much, but you put a lot on it if you want to. Because some of the G-Funk songs that I have, you can do rocking to it, stuff like that. Of course, a lot of it, you know, a lot of people do sea walking to it, but I'm not gangulated, you know. But even then, that right now, that's an art form, you know. As long as you do it right and do it respectfully, right. Don't be trying to act like a clown with it, you know. But I'm not into that. But I'm just saying, you can do a lot of different types of dances to G-Funk too. You know, you can, you know, any dance you can do in another song, you can do the G-Funk, because they have a lot of different sub-genres of sounds. They got the hardcore G-Funk. They got the one with the like Warren G. That's the G-Funk that I actually focused on. But now they got hardcore G-Funk too. You know, gangster G-Funk. They probably got trap G-Funk.
Yeah, you know. The Warren G is the stuff that I love.
Right.
I mean, it just had that smooth, like SoCal flow. And so I ran across something when I was reading through the bio that I was unaware of about back in the OSU. You got denied admittance into the jazz band, and the instructor or the professor said that you had your mind made up of how you wanted to play.
Yeah, I mean, I was auditioning, and the way I played, he interpreted what he was hearing as, but this guy is probably not going to be listening. He probably going to listen, but he's going to still do what he want to do. That's all I can take out of it, because he really didn't. He didn't elaborate. He just said, "I can tell you already know what you want to do," and that was the end of it. You know, I just walked out. It was over. You know, I wasn't hurting or anything. I was kind of like, okay. I stumped him. He didn't say I wasn't no good. He didn't say that. He wasn't even. It was nothing about my talent. It was about was I a lump of clay?
A lump of clay.
Gonna be somebody that he can mold. You know, and so that's what I was running across most of the time when I was playing in that music scene. Everybody wanted you to be a lump of clay, and they wanted you to fit in to what they was doing and do it exactly the way they instructed you to do it. Play these notes this way, play that solo here for this amount of measures, and everything was so regimented, and it was no room for creativity, you know. And so when I was with the Crazy Eights, that was the whole issue the whole time. I was trying to come out to the black side of town. They wouldn't hear it. You know, I was like, this is business. I said, you know what, money's everywhere. But they didn't want to hear it. You know, I think they was afraid, actually. You know, I think they was afraid, you know. But look what I was doing. I was managing them before Mark Baker, and I was negotiating with skinheads and racist people all the time. You know what I'm saying? And I was the front man. I was the manager. I was the bookkeeper. I was the one that got the money for the band's first record. I'm the one that got Marlon McClain. I'm the one that got the Oregonian cartoonist Jack Oman to do the artwork. And, my brother was the one that gave us the money, Steve Johnson. And so at the end of the day, it was the all black operation.
Okay, and then I see you had Marlon McClain was producing.
Yeah, he was producing.
Okay.
You know, and I just happened to know him through David Lycan, the Double T Promotions guy. You know, and the one that also owns Roseland, which used to be Starry Night. Now,
yeah.
He got that now. I used to work for him at one time. I worked for him. It was probably in the mid '90s. The black artists, they were coming through Portland, and they were never treated according to their stature in musically. You know, so they was put in cheap hotels, or they didn't get the full blown service. You know, in terms of whatever their writer said, I want this and that or that, and so literally I think they boycotted David Lycan, and they boycotted the other guy in Seattle who had that territory because they were not treating the black artists right. And they literally told David Lycan to hire me, or they weren't going to do nothing up there. And so he was forced to hire me. And they said, and make sure he's not a gopher, which means, you know, somebody that goes for this and goes for that, a gopher. And so they said, and we gonna be watching. He better not be a gopher. He better be at all the shows. He better be at all the meetings. So I wasn't at all the shows, all the meetings, but I was at a lot of the shows and a lot of the meetings. So I mean, it was a lot going on during that time. And when you knew me with the Crazy Eights, it was a lot going on. I was more involved with the business more than I was with the music, because like I said, I couldn't play. Really, I can fake it to make it, but I was the business side.
And
so Mark Baker, when he showed up, he was handed over a full blown successful business. You know, they should have did a way much more than they did. You know, we should have still been making money off of merchandising and stuff like that, and like in big numbers. I'm not talking no small numbers.
Well, you know, I was just checking out how prominent you guys really were, because I mean, in like 1985, you were on Star Search.
Yeah, I got us on Star Search. That was me.
Wow.
I renegotiated the contract with another attorney that I got. I still got the contract I renegotiated. So they didn't even want to do that. You know, once they said it was too cheesy. And so I sent in the information to Star Search anyway. I wrapped up, I sent them a button, the cassette at the time, and something else, maybe a picture. And I wrapped it up in like clown paper, clown wrapping. So when they got it in the mail, you couldn't miss this wrapping. And so they got back, and we got back with us. But Mark Baker and Todd Duncan knew we had a post office box, and so I had a key and they had a key, and so every day around mail time we was rushing over to that mailbox because I wanted to make sure when Star Search responded, I got the mail. They wanted to get it to tear it up. And so I got there first.
Wow.
And so Star Search, they said, yeah, we want you guys to audition for our show. But little did we know, they already knew about it, because at that time, we were the top college band in
Yeah.
the
So
country.
yeah, you guys, I remember, man, you guys were like, I'm riding that wave because I mean, it said that you guys were out charting like Prince and everybody else
Prince
on college
and Michael
radio.
Jackson.
Michael Jackson, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that was big, but back then we didn't really understand how big that was, other than the fact those were names.
Yeah, and then I see
They,
you were
their names spoke for themselves.
right.
So we really couldn't sit there and say, wow. It's like, well, that's them. They making money though.
Yeah, I see you guys captured the attention of like Billboard magazine, Rolling Stone magazine back in '85.
Okay, I'm gonna tell you what really happened.
Okay.
Star Search, they knew they were going to have us on the show the whole damn time. They put on a whole show where they traveled all up the Pacific Northwest, auditioning and having bands audition, thinking they had a chance to be on the show.
Mm-hmm.
They never had a chance. We was already chosen, And the reason why is because we had just released the album, Law and Order, and it sold pretty well in this region because it was a small label, you know what I'm saying? And then we were, the top college radio band in the Pacific Northwest. And that was it, and so that's why they chose us, because they did their demographic research. And so they auditioned all kinds of bands. I already knew we was going to be the one. I already knew. I went through it was a big charade, and so, but then when we got the contract, and I don't know if you people have heard of the 360-degree contracts in the music industry. Just draw a circle around yourself. Any money that you make inside that circle that you make, now that's their money.
Wow.
So the contract basically said that we want all rights to your music, your images. We want all rights to your future songs. We want to, if you guys win or be on the show, we record an album based upon Star Search shows, and we want you guys to come and record in our studio, and you pay for it. They just basically just wanted to just take us over in every way possible. And so I already had a background in business and contracts, because my sister had been sending me industry contracts for years. So I had been studying them the whole time, And so once I heard what Dude was trying to say in order for us to get on the show, I was like, wait a minute, we have a thriving business going. The conditions that you're giving to me, we can't sit here and just, get rid of our business like that. And so the guy's name was Sam Riddle, the producer. And he got mad, kind of, but he was going to get madder later. And so I went out and I got hold of this entertainment attorney. His name was J.R. Barnes, and he was one of the founding members of the AFTRA, American Federation TV and Radio. And I showed him the Star Search contract, and I was asking him, could he help us negotiate? And he was like, I don't know. I charge you so much an hour, blah, blah, blah. And I said, okay, well, I'm going to get back to you. I got to go talk to my buddies about it. Before I even hit the door, he stopped me, hold it, because he already knew who we were too. So he stopped me and came back and said, look, I'll do it for free. Just if you guys make it big, I want to have the first right of refusal to the first contract. And so I said, I already knew what that meant. So I said, okay. And so he told me, just get on the phone with Star Search and tell them we wanted to renegotiate the contract. And then he told me, and as soon as you say that, I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. The guy's going to hit the roof. He's probably going to start cussing you out. And so, but then he said, as soon as he goes berserk, you just calmly say, can my attorney talk to your attorney now? And so that's exactly what happened. So I called Dude up, and I told him we wanted to renegotiate the contract and the reasons why. And he hit the roof. He was like, "You stupid motherfucking country bumpkin bitches." He was like, he just went off. And I just calmly just listened. I said, "Okay, so can our attorney talk to your attorney?" He said, "Yeah, motherfucker." He slammed the phone down.
Damn.
So make a long story short with that one, the only contract they got from us was any footage they had of us on the show. That was it.
Okay.
So we basically dumped. I got rid of the whole damn contract. It's like, no, you're just gonna get you brought us out here. We're gonna do what we're gonna do because this is why you brought us out here, and that's it. You know, on the show we had Sinbad was on the show, so he was on there before he was already kind of famous though, but not really, but he was. He was hood famous
before he blew up. Yeah.
Right. So yeah. So the Crazy Eights didn't even want to do that, and so we made like I don't know, we made you know, a few $1,000s. You know, it wasn't 10, it wasn't 20, you know, it wasn't 30, it was a few thousand.
Right.
And so I was like, okay, you know, I was like, you know, this is when I knew shit was through. I said, no, we got to pool our money together, you know, and just come up with another plan, because now we got all this activity going around us. We need to pull off something big. You know, they didn't want to do it.
So I was looking at a list of some of the people that you've taken the stage with, a very impressive list, I must say. We got Art Blakely, Kenny Loggins, The Clash, Toots and the Maytals, Burning Spear, Romeo Void. That's one I haven't heard in a long time, man.
Yeah.
John Lee Hooker.
Right.
So of all the people that you performed with over the years or shared the stage with, who was your favorite? What was your greatest memory of that time?
It was actually, it was a group you didn't mention. What's the name?
English Beat?
English Beat.
Okay.
The English Beat, because they were ska too.
Right.
You know, but they had a little bit different instrumentation. They had only one sax player, so he was dope though. But you know, because they were going towards the jazzy side. But you know, but that music, that beat, that groove, that, you know, so that there gave me an idea too. Back in the day, it was like, I want to play the music that has this driving beat to it. And so at that time, that was the closest thing to it. But then the Crazy Eights, they started changing their musical style. They wanted to go more rock and roll and everything, you know. And so then we started losing a lot of that ska stuff. You know, it was more like during the show, it was more like a treat for the crowd. Here's one of our, you know, song from the past, you know. So they started doing more rock and roll, you know. But yeah, the English Beat was my favorite by far, you know, by far, you know. The Clash was cool though, but they was too rocky for me.
Actually, I remember the Clash. They had that one song, Radio Clash. I used to always like mix that in on my funk show. Sometimes I'd have to stick in the rock band and pull that out. So after the Crazy Eights ended, you went on to make some educational videos, and then I understand that you were like an award-winning videographer.
I kind of like that was I fell into that. Trust me, no, actually, Lanita Duke allowed me to fall into that. So I don't know how me and her actually hooked up as a team, but we hooked up with her radio show at the time, Grassroots News.
Yeah, I used to listen to that all the time.
I was her co-host. But anyway, she got a contract with the Portland Public Schools because she knew the, I guess the supervisor of the Portland Public Schools.
Superintendent. Dr. Matthew Prophet, was he there then, or?
No, it might not have been superintendent. It was probably, her name was Mary something. Anyway, she was high up. She can write checks. You know, she can make shit happen. So she gave Lanita Duke the contract to make a series of videos entitled Teen Parent TV. You know, at the time it had never been done before at least in the school systems anywhere in the United States. So I think we did maybe 5 or 6 of them. But anyway, yeah, we got a lot of awards. And I learned how to be a videographer. I learned how to do, do script and do storyboard and stuff like that. You know, thanks to Lanita. Lanita, she really helped me a lot. Joe Bean, you know, a lot of people used to think that I was being used by them. No, that was class. I was learning shit. You know what I'm saying? And so,
Well, I
and
know
so
my
I'm
cousin
looking
will
at
put you to
that.
work.
Hey, I didn't mind though.
Yeah.
I needed something to do to take, spend my time during the day, because I really wasn't working and shit. I was just doing music and stuff like that. But at the same time, I appreciate them because they actually allowed me to do some things that I can learn from that I can even use to this day. Even right now, here in Vegas, I'm using all those skills again right now. I have never used them since I left in terms of big projects consistently. So I want to really thank them. I don't know what they think about me, but I mean, I really appreciated just being around them. And out of that, I had my own cable TV show on Charter Cable for like 5 years. And then I got a spinoff one with Curtis Salgado. We did a show where all we did was highlight Black music, old black and white films of Black artists from the 20s, 30s, and 40s and stuff like that. And then, but then Charter actually gave me their professional crew to run my show. So I was like doing Arsenio Hall low key. I was doing low key Arsenio Hall on cable TV station. You know what I'm saying? So I actually did a lot of things in Portland that people didn't really know. I was in constant gaining knowledge mode.
Yeah.
The whole damn time. I might not look like it to you, but how can you tell what somebody's thinking?
Nah, I mean, I used to see you all over the place, man, especially because I was doing a lot of stuff with Joe Bean back then. And then Lanita Duke, I've known her for years. Matter of fact, my mom used to be her teacher back at Grant High School back in the day. And so there's a long history there. I mean, good people right there. So
yeah, that was some fun times, man. I mean, okay, I won't say fun, but they was very, very interesting. It was not boring. The shit was pretty. It was up and down a lot, but you had to learn how to be flexible when everything kept going up and down. You had to, because Bean put on a lot of productions,
right?
Anita do put on a lot of productions, and there's a lot of moving parts that goes into that stuff. I remember the proudest moment I had was Bean is when we decided to do that awards show. Remember that award show we did all them years ago?
Yeah.
He basically outmaneuvered them white boys by putting that show, because up until then they had never even done that at that level. Because he put on a full-blown production, and he had his enemies as the MCs.
Oh yeah.
That's what I liked about it.
That's cold right there. Only Bean could pull that off.
That's what I liked about that. Boy, he had all the people that really didn't like. They didn't really hate him, but because he was a businessman and because he was always trying to make things happen, that's why they didn't really like him, because he was not going to stop. And so they knew that, if he eventually, gathered the right amount of talent around, had the right, because when he opened up that Bean Better Entertainment company,
yeah,
that's when they was really watching him. It's like he was making moves. He has stepped up a level.
Yeah.
He really did. He now knew where the money was coming from.
Right.
If you can get somebody a commercial or something like that. Or I got a couple of I did a educational movie he got me involved in for some corporation. They out of Japan. They wanted to make a movie about middle management and the corporate norms in their company and how they handle certain things. And so I was actually acting for a little bit.
Oh man.
See how much I got from him.
Hey,
he opened up a whole lot of things for me.
It's funny that you say that, because
and I was in his band too.
Yeah, I remember that. Matter of fact, weren't you in the band back when we did this thing at the Texas, and they were playing? I was actually rapping. I did one of my songs, and the band was playing. I can't remember if you were at that one or not. So I know Kurt Green.
I probably was.
Yeah,
because I remember the Texas. That was a crackhead got my my reverb from me.
Okay.
Or I had some reverb at the back seat. It took about 30 seconds. I came out. They almost got my saxophone.
Yeah, because that's what we were rocking over there. the Texas Annex right across, because they had the big Texas
Yeah.
Lounge, and then they had the Annex across the street. I think it might have been even New
Yep.
Year's. Yeah, I just
It
remember
could
there
have
was
been, because I remember playing over there a lot. Yeah, it was. That's
yeah.
when the crackhead got me.
Okay.
Because I had just got that reverb for my Christmas present. I had to go back and buy another one for the person that gave it to me, found out I had lost it.
Oh,
I had
man.
to replace it.
Wow. So I see it 1999. Now you moved back from Oregon back over to Indianapolis.
Yeah, I got married.
Okay, so you got married and you were down in Nap for a while.
That's the end of that story. Yeah, that's the end of that story.
Okay.
I was in Indiana for maybe almost a couple years, but I was still involved musically. I met a bass player. His name was his nickname was Blade.
Uh-huh.
And he played like Wayman Tisdale, you know, and then he also sequenced music. And so it was just me and him, and he had wanted to get into a couple of places to play. He had been trying for years, you know, and so because me and him clicked like that, you know, when he made good music, and so it wasn't G-funk, but it was that grooving. It was like the, you know, Southern California feel, driving down the highway along the beach and stuff, that kind of music.
Yeah, top down music.
it was more funkier though. It was more funkier, you know. Okay. So anyway, we wanted to play at this one spot. I think it was called is it Madam CJ? Who's the black lady that made all the black hair products?
CJ Walker.
Walker. Yeah, she has a theater in Indiana.
Okay.
In her name, and so they also had like a concert hall attached to it. And so he wanted to get in. He never was able to get in there. And so I said, okay, I'm going to show you how to get into these places. I think we're good enough. And so, you know, we went down there a few times and found out who the owner was and some of the managers and blah, blah, blah. And eventually I found out when they were going to have their next staff meeting. And so the person I contacted, I said, find out if we can play at your staff meeting after you have your meeting, because then they're going to be eating or cleaning up or whatever. And so they said, yeah. And so that's how we got in. So the owner sat down. He's like, all right, start playing. So we started playing. But I swear the owner went to sleep on me. And so when we got done, they said, we done. He woke up. He says, yeah, I think we can do some business. And he just walked off, you know. We got in just like that. And so there's a couple other clubs I did the same thing to, where I found out who the people was, and I tried to set up a situation where it was going to be easy for us to play in front of the decision-making person. So I mean, you know, it's a lot of finesse to it, but that was always the objective, because a lot of times, you know, you either have to have an agent or you have to know who the person is that books that room or hall or you know, business. And most of the time, you know, if they don't know you, you know, you ain't getting shit. And so when I'm back to being in them, you know, we was doing what they call guerrilla marketing. So whatever it took, whatever resources we had, just like in the movie Friday, and Smokey's mom said, give me some cigarettes, gave him $2. She said, make it work.
Yeah.
So that was the same type of energy I brought from Portland to Indiana, because I was used to, you know, making it work on my own, working with being with Nita Duke, you know. And so even to this day, I avoid managers, I avoid agents. I know how to get around them.
Right.
You know, but the point is, your product's got to be good.
Okay.
That's the end of the story. Your product has to sell itself. Once you have a chance to get their attention, the product has got to sell itself. You don't need no bells and whistles. You don't need no postcards and flyers, and you don't need to have a lot of social media followers. I'm telling you, this is what I've done. I don't have none of that stuff. You know, I've recorded for the originator of house music, Jesse Saunders.
Uh-huh.
My only point is, because I did that, I'm not under contract with them, but now I'm an associate. So this is what I did. I made myself valuable. That's what I'm saying. You make yourself valuable, you can pretty much, any door will open up for you. Because when you make yourself valuable, that means you value yourself.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that's all it is. So once you value yourself, then you know, you already know what's in your heart. Nobody can tell what's really in your heart. So you know, you're already gonna know what your bottom line is. You're already gonna know where the line in the sand is. You know, so if what you do sells itself, that's all you need to do. You know, and then after that, you just got to just be yourself. You know, when I used to play with Mark Hardy and Miguel Roberts and them type of people, we used to do gigs that they told me to, you know, to play. When we got done with the gigs, people didn't even want to pay us. You know, Kurt Green got me involved with a gig one time, and the people didn't want to pay us, and I'm the one that negotiated the contract. And so we had like a Mexican standoff for almost like 8 hours. I sat up in dude's office, would get up. Well, that wasn't 8 hours, you know, it was probably like 3 or 4 hours. You know, and he finally was like, fuck, nigga. And, you know, he broke us off. But he was just trying to just like, you know, play me off without being mean or an asshole about it. He was just going to act like, you know, it's mind over matter. You know, we don't mind because you don't matter. So I sat up there in the office, and then I was also another, you know, I was doing shows too on my own after a while. I was doing rap shows and stuff like that. But then there's one guy at One Stop Records. I ain't gonna say his name. Anyway, he tried to recruit me to teach his kids how to promote and stuff like that, you know. And so as soon as I asked how much I'm gonna get paid, this nigga tried to choke me out. If you don't believe me,
what?
If you don't believe me, ask Kurt Green. He was there.
Wait a minute. I know who you're talking about. You're significantly bigger than that, man.
Oh, what? But you know, I ain't telling you all the details. It was much more to it than just me being bigger than him. He was bigger as somebody in the community. He was bigger than me.
Yeah.
So he was a giant. You know, okay. So when he asked me, you know, to help his kids, I was like, well, how much am I gonna get paid? This nigga, he just about leaped over the table. He literally went out like this.
Oh man. Wow, that sounds like some.
I'm telling you, ask Kurt Green. He was there.
That sounds like some Tales from the Tour Bus type shit right there, man.
That shit was funny though, man.
Oh, man.
I'm just gonna drop this down on you. At the time, I was being courted by the Masons.
Okay.
So a lot of shit, a lot of stuff was going on. People that I already knew in my life revealed themselves as Masons. I'm not saying anything's bad about it because all they're doing is worshiping our history, you know, our ancestors. So you know, I'm not really down on them. They've mastered our history and our knowledge, and because we have been systematically denied the memory of it and access to it, so now we're at a disadvantage. That's what's really going on more than anything else. We simply do not know who we used to be.
Well, yeah, that's we've had conversations about that before.
Right.
Yeah, I mean that's a whole nother show right there.
Yeah.
Speaking of the show, ladies and gentlemen, if you really like what you're seeing, make sure that you hit that like button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and also share. All right, so let's. I wanted to ask you about the 702 specifically now. So what, you got a band now that you put together? You're just waiting for this COVID thing to end so y'all can get busy?
Yeah, I got a band with a partner of mine. His name is General Wiz. The band is called Nitro All Stars, you know, and it's basically R&B, especially an R&B band. R&B and they starting to throw a little rock and roll in there, much to my dismay. They throwing some rock and roll in there, but we are going to have a G-Funk set too.
Okay.
So we're getting ready to start, you know, putting the G-Funk songs together. Because initially, me and the keyboard player, General Wiz, we were going to have a G-Funk band, and so we had gotten the chance to play at the Fremont Experience. But when it was our turn to play, the engineers on stage acted like they forgot how to work their equipment. I got it on tape. So I'm not just talking. I got it on tape. I can pinpoint the exact moment when I knew they was fucking with us. But anyway, we didn't work out on that particular day in terms of playing G-Funk. But then we started attracting other musicians and stuff like that. And so as soon as we got a full, band together, then we just started, everybody started, submitting songs. And we immediately started learning songs because we had an agent already. They wanted us to make a promotional video, which is what we're working on.
Okay.
So we're going to work on a promotional video. We've already have 3 sets down. The G-Funk set is next. We're also, me and the keyboard player, we're also going to be doing some duos and stuff like that too. So I do solos, I do duos. My main thing is my solos. I'm just now starting to record because now I have a record label that will distribute it, because they're looking for talent, so basically I'm in, but I still have to produce that product, and that product has got to be good. And when I say good, usually it just means that it has to have a high quality sound to it. You know what I'm saying? I already know my part's going to sound whatever I want it to sound like, but the actual recording has the sound, full. It's got a, I want somebody to be able to make my sound like a movie soundtrack.
Right.
That's what I want. I actually tried to hire this guy to do it at one point, but he didn't even listen to my music to know what kind of music I played. He just wanted to just make money off of me. But the point is, he can do what I wanted him to do, though.
Right.
So but once he said he didn't even listen to my music, I said, well, how are you going to help me if you didn't know how you going to work with me at? I'm not playing rock and roll. I'm playing funk. So anyway, in the 702, most bands are not playing right now. Most of the people that played in all the top shows and everything, everybody's out of work.
Yeah, I've seen where people now
everything is starting over. Only the ones that are ready are going to get a chance at first, because most of these people that are still here trying to promote, they're still hoping to be able to bring their people back in. But as things are starting to turn out, or as the weeks and months go by, it's like you better figure out another way of doing this, or you're going to lose your business completely. So we're pretty much using the DJ Quick method. If you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready.
Exactly.
That's how we think.
You know, I'm looking forward to the day when y'all can start performing and stuff down there. And this time when I come down, man, return my call and tell me where you're playing at.
Well, everybody that comes from Portland down to there and they call me, I never answer the phone. I ain't seen you guys in a long time. I don't know what you like no more. You know what I'm saying? It ain't, my house ain't a drop-in spot, stuff like that.
I ain't trying to drop by your house. I was trying to drop by the club to see you play,
No,
man.
I don't even think I was playing at that time.
Okay.
You know, I haven't really played a lot in the clubs out here. To tell you the truth, I've only done mostly solo work, and then like I said, I made myself valuable. I played at a Raiders event, one of their first events last Christmas time, and I played for the head DJ, Connie Breeze. Remember that name?
Yeah.
She's up here.
Oh, okay.
She's up here, and Chet Buchanan.
Not familiar.
Remember that name? Remember that white boy used to always be on top of the billboards during the Christmas toy drive?
Oh, him, yeah.
Yeah, he out here too.
Okay.
And so I played for her birthday party, which was actually part of her official Raiders event, and it was like all industry people. I came out of my pocket to hire the band to play because I knew I was going to, once again, this is all about keep making yourself valuable. This is all about when the moment comes, you need to present yourself, quick, fast, in a hurry, and have some impact with it. So, I mean, most people that play out here consistently and working, they have agents. They got to weigh in. They got a lot of cliques out here. I'm not part of these cliques. I can't afford to dress like them. I can't talk like them. I can't act like them. And so I said to myself, I have to learn how to play a certain way to be able to wipe all those issues away. If they hear how I play, they ain't even gonna be thinking about that shit. That's the plan. It's going in solo is pretty much unheard of, but nobody is using straight improvisation as their vehicle out here. Most musicians out here that play very good. They got a lot of great musicians. I'm saying great, like capital G, but because they were so comfortable getting paid, I'm not mad at nobody, but now their money's gone. But they can't, what can they do? Can they all of a sudden come out and be a solo artist without having that big production? Because I've seen a few of these guys, and I'm not gonna mention no names, that they're big in smooth jazz, and they try to go live on, but they sounded good, but it's like, no, nigga, you sound like everybody else. I mean, not everybody else that hasn't made it. Okay. They made it now, but now they sound like everybody else that ain't made it yet.
Right.
That's because it's all about the production. So when I say, I got to make sure this recording has to have a high quality production sound, it's the same thing when you do like live streaming. There is a science to that. I'm still trying to figure it out to where when people hear you, no matter what, you're going to still sound, full and rich, Yeah.
All right. So I want to close by asking you, you listed a whole bunch of influences that, kind of got you focused and learning how to play. You listed Duke Ellington, Louis Armstrong, Ella Fitzgerald, Art Tatum, Oscar Peterson, Sarah Vaughan, Joe Williams. I mean, you got the who's who of the originators, man.
Really, I chose them because their sound speaks for itself. Uh-huh. They're masters, and especially Ella Fitzgerald. I actually saw her once, and I was just amazed at her tone was so clear. Her phrasing was so precise. There was no hint of uncertainty at all. You know what I'm saying? And Oscar Peterson, same way. He was just fluid. Art Tatum, same way, just fluid. Duke Ellington and Count Basie, they just how they was able to create that orchestra sound that sound like nobody else can make it sound that way. Even if they copied it, it still wasn't gonna sound like they made it sound. And so all it was the essence of the greatness of their sounds. So all these people combined, they were all on the same, level. But the essence that they all had together was that the richness of their sound and their control over their instrument, whether it was a voice or the instrument, and the main thing about it is they played beautifully, skillfully, and clean execution. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I always focus on. I have been always told I have very, very good tone for years and years and years. I really never understood that tone is everything. I was trying to play like Maceo. I was trying to play like Grover,
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I was trying to get my groove on. I'm trying to play like Stanley Turrentine.
Wow.
So it's the essence of the greatness of those type of individuals. That's all I was hearing. My dad told me it's all sound, and so all I do is listen. I listen for the sound only. I'll worry about the scales and the chords later. That comes later. You play an instrument?
I play around with the bass. I play around with the bass, but my problem is I can't do it consistently enough to get good. Right. I just don't have the patience, I guess, the mindset to do it. Then I started.
I'll give you a cool clue right here. Just play songs that you already know. I don't care if it's Mary Had a Little Lamb. Funk it out. I don't care if any song that you can know, that you can hum whistles, even in your sleep. Those are the songs you practice at first, and then you focus on the technique and phrasing and stuff like that. After a while, you're just gonna forget about it. That's the song you're playing. That's the easiest way to get comfortable. And playing is always, that's one of the first keys that I did when I was teaching myself. I was playing songs I already knew first, and that revealed how much I didn't know shit. You know what I'm saying? I can play the song, but then I couldn't take it nowhere because I had nothing. I knew nothing. But that was an easy way to at least get to that level of understanding, and then you just go to the next phase. So next time I play, I'm gonna play it, make it sound like a Hollywood movie. I'm gonna put a lot of vibrato on it. Next time you might do a lot of staccato, or for you it'd be thumping, or and the next day you might just be fingering up and down, however many techniques you have available to play that bass on, you just find different ways to practice those techniques as opposed to trying to just learn songs. Practice your techniques, and when you learn the songs, then you'll be able to learn the songs, because then you would have, because when the technique is really going to be your comfort zone, because then you can always expand your comfort zone. But if you ain't got much time, I'm telling you, just play the songs that you already know. You can whistle, hum, dream about in your sleep, because that's the easiest way to not make it seem like it's like so rudimentary, like regimented.
Right.
There's still a certain level of fun to it, because you already know, even if you make a mistake, you know where to go back to. Then you're gonna decide, I'm gonna do that next time. I'm gonna do something different. But just keep it simple. That they told me a long time ago. Keep it simple, stupid.
Kiss, yeah.
I never believed in that. I still don't to this day, but I get it.
Right.
Sometimes when you're trying to practice something hard, you gotta slow it all the way, retard it down. But anyway, I mean, I can go on talking to you forever, man. We ain't talked in a while, and you're the first person that's actually I've talked to since I left Portland, in terms of being interviewed or any information about me other than social media. So I appreciate, you reaching out to me. I was, at first I wasn't going to do it, because I didn't know what the format was. I didn't want to go off into a lot of tangents about, other things that was going on in Portland and stuff like that. So this was, I appreciate, your format, and, you moderated it very well. When it was over, he was like, you said, wrap it up without saying it.
Well, I'm really appreciative of the fact that you decided to come on, man. I mean, I knew it would be a good interview and stuff. I've been, checking your stuff out, and, like I said, with the history and everything. But before we get out of here, the one thing I want to do is give you an opportunity. I saw some of your catalog on Reverb Nation, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if people want to hear your music, they go on there and find you.
Oh, they can go on Reverb Nation. You can always Google. It's a long name, but you'll get everything. JamminJoe, the True Smooth Saxophonist.
Okay, and for the folks that can't remember that might be suffering from memory issues once they get to be old like us, I will make sure that I put that in the
say
description.
It's probably a public school education.
Well, damn, Joe Johnson. All right, excuse me, JamminJoe, the true saxophonist. I really appreciate you coming on, brother.
I appreciate you appreciating me, and I hope we can probably do this again when I get that G-Funk single out. I am going to be recording that single tomorrow at 3 o'clock.
All right,
so
man.
I've been practicing. I know what I want to do.
All right. Well, that is awesome. And once again, I want to remind the viewers that if you like the content of this video, please make sure that you like, make sure that you share, and subscribe. And this has been the Boozadelic Chronicles, DJ Boozadelic and JamminJoe, the True Smooth Saxophonist.
All right. They call him Little Joe, but he's a grown man now. But he's a barber, that classic men barbershop. So I wanted to, shout out to my son, and that's where he cuts hair at. You want to get you a fresh cut, go check him out.
Now, is he down there in Las Vegas, or is he out here in Oregon?
Oh, he's out here in Portland.
Okay.
It's called a Classic Men Barbershop.
Classic Men Barbershop. All right, be sure to go over there and check out Little Joe, man.
he ain't little.
Yeah. Well, y'all know what I mean. As people, we be calling some bits like 6'10" and 300 little,